course, the two players that are gracing your screen once again, it is Riftlounge on the Viktor, rolling on in with a pretty powerful battlefield against Recker on the Kaisa. Both players sitting at 5-1 in their matchup records, which is quite surprising, I will say. So we'll see exactly how that pans out. But in the Grand Finals, it's a BO3. It's all day long. Let's see how they go. And it's immediate start for Riftlounge as you go ahead and drop that Honest Broker, getting that gold generation moving, and it's a quick response on the flip by the Lecturing Yordle, getting that card draw moving early as well.
Yeah, it is kind of nice to see the Unit Victor deck really having its time to shine. It felt like I'm not going to say it totally disappeared with Draven, but when your entire strategy revolves around putting these little tiny tokens on the board that just say have free draws, generally doesn't work out super good. So with Draven falling a little bit, I'm not going to say it fell too far until we see maybe the results of a couple big regional size events. I know Lille is coming up, and that'll be a really good indicator of the new format. Is that the first big tournament we have with the new format? Is it Lille, or is there something before that?
I want to say yes. The first major regional that is going to be incorporating the bands in, and I mean that'll be interesting to see of itself. So yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I'm excited. I am very excited to go. So looks like we have both players moving on to the opposition's battlefield. Actually, what's kind of cool with the Ravenbloom for Kaisa is Kaisa generally doesn't try to hold too much. Honestly, neither does Viktor. But Ravenbloom is going to be perfect for Kaisa. Kaisa plays so many spells, and if Viktor does ever decide to go through combat, it's pretty likely to give draws over. But Kaisa accelerating out the champion and getting to see quite a few cards here. Draw, discard, and draw. Okay, Watcher. Yep, I mean, that's kind of expected, right? That card's not going to be particularly good in the Viktor matchup. Probably digging for like Bellows and Singularities.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very quick tap and a very quick movement coming out here. So you can already see off rip, we are seeing Recker trying to take control of the battlefield very quickly, but a quick Stupefy onto the Kaisa track does lend itself to a very different story. We've seen, I want to say when we took a look at Riftlounge before, Riftlounge, they actively went against another Viktor build out. So it was a Viktor v Viktor matchup. And instead now we are looking at that removal. So bye-bye goes the Kaisa. It's a very nice and quick removal before things go a little bit sideways in there, I will say. So I like the current play that they're going for. Not only that, dropping that Riptide out of the water, saying we don't want to deal with that one at the end of the day. So you are going to not have to deal with that big unit piece.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting to see that Kaisa was okay with knowing that Kaisa unit was almost certainly not going to survive tapping out against a yellow deck, especially the Viktor deck that plays so much removal. It's kind of expected that he's just going to die, and he's like, okay, I want to get these couple draws and dig in, and I'm okay with it dying. I'm not leaving anything up for retreat. Definitely showcasing a more aggressive Kaisa build, like you said, like aggressive kind of high tempo build.
Yeah, I want to see if it works, but for right now, the board state looks a little bit weak. You know for a fact that Recker has a lot of cards in hand, but maybe not the rune power to really swing as hard as they would like right now. They spent a lot to bring the Kaisa out a little bit early. They are still holding over on Ravenbloom Conservatory, but that face down hidden card has to be a little bit of a worry. You know, if you take out the recruit, that feels fine and all that stuff, but you know for a fact that you're in a little bit of trouble on the back end. But there it is, Ferris Forerunner, one of the big ones. Death Knell, drop 2 3 Might Mech unit tokens to your base. If this unit dies, it's a very big power play that can deal with a lot of the aggressive token generation. And here comes that consult from the past. Draw 2 more, gives a big hand for Riftlounge here.
Yeah, I think it was pretty easy for Kaisa there to make that read that the hidden is a draw 2. Generally, the only hiddens that are being played are there's Wages, which you're not hiding against Kaisa because anything that can be accelerated is not beating, like Wages is not outing it. You're not beating a Darius. You're not beating another Kaisa with a Wages. And that just leaves you with generally Consult Past and Hidden Blade, so almost certainly just looking for a draw 2 there, so you can kind of disrespect it and say, yeah, sure, whatever. You can hide your card, you can get your draws. That's totally fine. It doesn't actually do anything. In this case, Viktor does kind of swing the hand advantage right back. Right, he does now have that 6-card hand. I guess they are at even ramp now after paying a couple power costs, but does have the gold token on the ready for the next turn. And like you said before, has a slightly better board state. The Viktor unit coming down now and having a token in 3 places. So even repeated bellows is not clearing quite everything.
Yeah, and I don't I think we saw it before with the bellows, but honestly, with the current rune situation as well, I don't see it working well for Recker to even think about doing that. I think you're more wondering if you're going to swing hard with the Forerunner and see what you can work with there. I think that, in my eyes, would be a much better call. It looks like it was a gold token denied by Recker, so only extra gold for Riftlounge here. More tokens available, but again, setting up the base quite well. Surprised that Recker didn't take it.
Yeah, because at this point in the game, it doesn't really matter that much if the Viktor has like 1 extra gold token. I don't know. I guess opted to. Wow, that's a good. That's a very good hit. Oh my!
It would have been even better if you had the energy to play it, right?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I mean, that is a little bit scary on the follow up, but there is the Yordle sitting in the base. I mean, that's a pretty free one to get rid of. Would like to see something to clean up the base a little bit here. It does get scary when you let Viktor develop these wide boards, especially in the base, because it opens you up to like a Imperial Decree or if he's even considering still playing it. I think the stratagem card has kind of died in set 2. I really don't think any yellow decks have been playing it besides maybe Rek'Sai. I've seen a couple Rek'Sais play it. But I would be worried about the decrees, especially when we're tapping out. And it is possible for Viktor to play his own bellows. Like a bellows repeated in the base here into a call would be insane. Like the game almost, I'm not going to say would be over, but it'd be pretty close to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great swing to have. However, there is going to be a discard, and there's the bellows to clear out the enemy backline, which we do appreciate. Yeah. I know your heart skipped a little beat there, and you're like, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? Nah, he's not going to do it to his own side. Instead, remove a lot of that backline, keep the Forerunner over on that left side battlefield in the Conservatory, and still hold a lot of weight with the rune untapped. Take a look at that 7 out of 9, meaning, well, obviously you wind down a little bit more, but there's the Cold of the Week that we saw earlier. 2 tokens will come out here with the mech side, but you can still deny them as well if you so wish. That's a double conquer up to 6. One more good turn will give the win to Riftlounge.
Yep, and it is Viktor, so plenty of options to push up aggressively. Still can develop that Viktor unit token, or the Viktor leader token, and then ideally can maybe develop a couple more units, so you have enough units that you can threaten that Imperial Decree, or you can threaten like the Singularity or something. Essentially, you have enough that you can threaten both battlefields on the following turn, because right now... Oh, okay. Okay, I mean, sure, if both players are okay with it. In this case, does push up the Honest Broker there as the Card Sharp.
Card Sharp, yeah.
As the it will create the token when it dies, so more threats on the following turn, and you really don't care about the size of the threats, because again, the general, clearing the board aggressively, which I like to see. It does get harder for Kaisa, because a lot of the accelerate options are pretty expensive. Like Darius is 5, only leaves you 4. Even the accelerated Kaiser hand also is 5. There are cheap options, but generally they are not they weren't played before. I guess it's hard to say without too much experience post-ban list, but there is stuff like Legion Rearguard, which is cheap accelerate. Wouldn't expect too many of these though.
Yeah, and I'm kind of wondering here. So that's a quick capture over on the Zon Warrens. And so you're able to discard 1. You dropped out of the progress stage, just saying, I can't really deal with that one right now. I don't want to even think about that. So, yeah, big draw. I mean, why would you do that when you feel like the turn's going to end here? Did you draw anything good, though, is the question. You have 9 energy to work with. And you need a full board clear, and you need to be able to wipe out a lot of these units and then be able to push some out as well. I mean, where did this go wrong for the Kai'Sa? I feel like, because we're talking like the Kai'Sa has been behind here, which they have, but where did it go wrong for them?
I mean, that previous turn where they established a bunch of units just kind of said bellows me. I mean, there's not much of a better way to say it. It said just bellows me, and the game is rough. There were a few different options though. The Kai'Sa player could have tried to spread their units a little bit, like play a maybe play the 2-drop onto the battlefield with the Forerunner, because then at that point the repeated bellows isn't killing everything, and they do have to trade in at least one body. But I mean, it's easy to say these things in retrospect because there are still answers for that kind of play, right? Because you can still just get hit with like a Stupefy on the 2-drop, which is like a easy way to clear it. It does leave your guys on the battlefield, so if he doesn't have bellows, then your stuff is getting cleared just straight through combat. So it's very easy to say in retrospect, but it's a lot harder to see in the moment. Here, Kai'Sa really does need to hold on to this battlefield, or the game is quite over. But yeah, that's
yeah. And I mean, considering when we talk about a lot of the removal options that a Viktor has, to see a big unit like the Watcher come out feels bad, right? That's a big turn being utilized, but here comes the get excited, and we are going to deal an energy cost out and send their own Watcher back. A great reversal and a save by Recker here. But is there going to be, because that was a big turn. That was a big swing, but the unit might reduction is still in effect, I think.
Yes, it is. So here,
and so they're calculating right now, right? They're calculating to see if they can just bump it a straight up face off.
If he pushes it up, it's 4-4 and it trades, and then you can win the game with the token. The issue is that one energy is a very scary thing, considering he has not played. I don't think he's played one Stupefy, or was it the Victor that played the Stupefy? So there's
I think it was a Victor.
Okay, there's still Stupefies left. There's still Void Rays left if they're playing them. Again, this not quite the traditional Kai'Sa list with so many main Forerunners and the Get Excited. So not. It's something you need to be wary of, because things get pretty hairy here if you do lose your board to that, right? And you can just say, I don't think you have the Accelerate to go push up on the other battlefield, and I'm going to just try and hold there. I think it's pretty unlikely that happens, because Kai'Sa almost certainly has removal for the card Sharp in hand. But it's what kind of risk you're willing to take here, because you do have to think about the follow-up turn as well then. Okay, let's say you do pass it over. They clear the Raven Bloom. Well, now you're back to having the double Conquer, and they have full runes up. So it gets spooky. You got to kind of take the risks that you are willing to take. In this case, he's saying you do not have something. And it might not.
I mean, it was a gamble, right? At the end of the day, you're gambling on this kind of movement, and that's the joys of TCGs. You are gambling your hopes and dreams right now. One more token goes in, and out comes a Hextech Ray! It's even better here. 1/1 cost, blowing away that recruits. And Recker will stay alive. 1 point separates Riftlounge, but it gives Recker a mere moment to fight back.
Yeah, I think that is looking pretty rough. So if Kai'Sa has any removal in hand, I think the game should be pretty over here. Because you just go clear, and it's like, okay, sure, I can draw cards. It's pretty hard to establish multiple Accelerate units, because, mind you, only going up to 8, so you have only Watcher. You can develop like multiple Zins if he plays multiple Zins, but that's like a big ask if you are playing multiple of that. And then there still is the potential of interruption in hand.
Yeah, and we can now see it's a full board flood coming in from Recker's side, dropping the double Poros into play with the plundering, making sure to keep the base also safe, still worried about that Bellows Breath plus Imperial Decree, really making sure that you can play for a turn back. But I mean, you take a look at the board, the hand state for this Viktor, and you're hoping for a little extra. It is going to be a Bellows Breath option. Stupefy #1. You need to value out the other mech, and I think they are revealing. No, they say that's it. That's done.
Wow.
GG's, well played by Recker at the tail end. The Hextech Raid is save.
Yeah, that was very good. That was very good. It was very close there at the end. I think low key one of the nicest things that they did is because they hit all these random, like for instance, hitting the called shot and stuff. They made it less appealing to play seals, and I think seals are one of the biggest issue with enabling silly stuff because they allow you to cheat resource costs and play more cards than you should every turn, and then every subsequent turn. Because remember, every turn you have a seal live. Well, that's one more rune that you have on every following turn. So if you have 3 seals, that means every following turn is plus 3 runes, and it compounds. So it's something that it doesn't really make very obvious, but seals allow you to play insanely higher counts of cards as long as you have the draw for it. And obviously, called shot is kind of was the crazy combination where not only is it free if you have the seals, but it's infinite cards, so you can find more seals. So
Yep. It's a very frustrating deal to work with. It's the constant reloading, accelerating. It's like playing Age of Empires and just accelerating through all the decades, right? Like you are just powering through, and while one player's still sitting on like, you know, rocks and clubs, the other guy's sitting with like a couple nukes on the end, and you're like, bro, that's not fair. I don't know what the heck you just did, but it's not cool. Looking into this game too, though, its immediate start with a 1-1 tap. A recruit was denied as a lecturing Yordle sends him back to class, and it will be the Treasure Hoard versus the Vile Maw's Lair. An early falling star as well to really deny any sort of setup of the Viktor's side.
Yep, I like it. Aggressively remove units. This is one of the things that has traditionally in set 1 made it so annoying for Viktor to play against Kai'Sa is yellow-blue, not a lot of good accelerate options. So you are forced to kind of actually play the slow fair game. Xin Zhao does exist now, but other than that, it's like you can play the sprite token stuff, you can play the Watcher, and that's about it. Which feels pretty bad when your units are getting removed every turn. But I will say, this card that was played to the base right now is kind of a highlight for me because it is one of the better ways of dealing with the removal from Kai'Sa, and it looks to be having a bit of an impact in set 3 as well with Wand.
Yeah,
Mixologist, I believe.
Yep, the glass mixologist, very, very annoying to deal with. You don't want to remove it, but already we are seeing kind of that build up once more. And this time it's actually Recker who feels a lot more in that advantage. A quick capture over to Vile Maw's Lair, unable to move from here, but again, it's a death knell effect, draw 1 once you die. So Recker's getting something out of it each time. But this acceleration pace, this was not what we saw last time. And it's always kind of funny to think about because when I look at a Viktor deck, I think oh god, who was it that called it War Crimes deck? I think it was Agito. Agito had one of the best ways to put it. It's a War Crimes deck, right? You're just removing, and it's the same factor back. It's like a Viktor getting a taste of his own medicine, watching his units slowly fall away without being allowed to build up on his own.
Yeah, this is something that the yellow deck does. One of the downsides, I mean, it's so good at removal, but it's not really good at dealing with removal. Again, until next set, I think the LeBlanc deck is going to be pretty good in the removal, which will be definitely pretty interesting.
Oh my god, I watched one of those. It was painful. Let me tell you, once we go to set 3, I'm terrified of LeBlancs.
Yeah, it does look pretty powerful. I think it's done pretty well at some of the early tournaments here, but same colors as Viktor, so you will get to see maybe a little bit more emphasis on the death knells, which is definitely a cool thing to see. Mixologist pushing into the Vile Maws and the Watchful Sentry turning into another card, trapping the Mixologist there. That being said, Viktor doesn't really pull out of battlefields, more of a conquer style strategy than a hold style strategy, so not going to complain too much there. Opting to go up to odd points, but does get the gold token.
Yeah. We are going to go ahead and very quickly tap out here, hide another card with the Mixologist. I think kind of preemptively determining as another one comes out here. Love this call. I'm amazed you actually didn't slam that into another battlefield instead. Maybe hold over on Treasure Hoard just to play a little bit safer. But it's a nice play. You're expecting the Forerunner to come out to swing as well. So it's a good primer for what could be coming next.
Yeah, well, if you do put it on a battlefield, well, specifically the treasure hoard, you lose the board, right? You push it up, and then he just trades in with actually, you can just push in the Yordle plus the Forerunner, and the tank saves the Forerunner. And in this point, you
Fair
just
enough.
want to establish units, and the Mixologist is a unit that is quite annoying for Kaisa to deal with, as it is going to turn into another unit. So not kind of giving up on that death knell before you have to, force the Kaisa to commit stuff into it. Which is why I imagine it's being played to the base here. And also, spreading is good. Kaisa is at the Watcher threshold if they did want to play it. I wouldn't be surprised if Watchers were sided out. I don't think it's particularly good versus this Viktor deck. In fact, I kind of hate it. But with the Get Excited build, you need discards, so maybe not.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You need to be able to kind of rotate in. We did also get a swap. I believe one of the hidden cards. It looks like Riftlounge wanted to move it over to the left side battlefield instead. That is going to be a reduction though. Quick drop of a Stupefy and immediate Forerunner build out. So I like what we're seeing here. Quick tap Stupefy back, sending one to a -1. So 5 versus 5. Another Stupefy. Multiple Stupefies being played at the end here, which I love this call. It's a very silly way to play.
Ends.
So it will be a Forerunner hold over here on Vile Lair.
Yeah, I will say I'm not super enthused by playing back the gold generator off of the Mixologist. Obviously, he has no other options here, but it doesn't feel super great because by the time those guys die and you get the gold tokens, the game's pretty close to over. So maybe a little bit too slow to do anything but provide bodies. But you can't really complain about bodies, right? As that is the issue with the Viktor deck against the Kaisa deck, is not having enough bodies. But going really wide here is saying you are going to have to deal with a lot of units on the follow-up. You have to deal with the mech tokens. You have to deal with a couple Yordles. You got to deal with the ever so annoying Poro from set 1. Who seems to be making his return.
Yeah, I love Pouty Poro, by the way. One of the greatest little artwork pieces. I played Legends of Runeterra in the past. It's a funny little one. Just he's so annoyed. All he wants is a specific food, and his whole kit is just very, very silly. I love it. So, as you said though, it is a problem. We are looking at the board state. We're looking at the bodies on the table, and yeah, you're looking at Recker, who's tapped out. I still don't think Riftlounge has the ability to kind of overwhelm. You're looking at what they have. It's just, what can you do, really?
Yeah, it is definitely an annoying scenario. That being said, I think there are a lot of answers here, especially with so many cards in hand and so many runes. You can, for the most part, deal with board by trading in. Opts to not do that. Okay, yeah, no. So is going to trade in. This does deal with the battlefields. Now this does open up a nice bellows onto the base. Double bellows clears some stuff. You're totally fine with paying deflex at this point. You're pretty stacked up on runes. You got a couple treasure tokens. It looks like not going to do that. What are we playing? I think.
Well, no, he might. He might if he has Imperial Decree as well. No, it's a Watchers.
Oh, there
he
we go.
reduced everyone already and then dropped a Bellows Breath on top. Well played at the end. It's the, I don't want to say it's the budget Imperial Decree. I feel it's a better Imperial Decree because you're able to push a 7-might unit out. Now, the problem is there's a Time Warp coming out to play. Recker saying, gimme the win. No. Oh, boy.
Okay, that's one. Does he have Accelerate for the other battlefield? It could be a Watcher. It could be a Darius.
He has the Kaisa!
Oh, yeah, he has the Kaisa! Wow. I feel like I haven't seen this since set 1. Oh my gosh. That was a fun
who would have thought that Time Warp would have come out in a set 1 versus set 1 matchup? Crazy end.
Just slams it. I totally forgot about the Kaisa champion. I thought it had already been played, but no, yeah. So that, wow, what a clean finish from him.